Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Broken Crayons. I am here today with the amazing, lovely, beautiful guest, Dulce Sloan.
Hello.
Hello. So you told me before you like to color, and you're not really a drawer, but you like to color.
Yeah, I have a craft room at my house, so I make things like I made this ring.
Oh, wow.
So you can have it if you want.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna wait in the episode. See, we have an overhead camera too, so let's see.
So this
the other
is
thing.
UV resin. And so you color the resin with powder color, like the mica powder.
Yeah.
Or I had like these like dyes for it specifically.
Yeah.
And then everything is in a mold. So like the ring base
Yeah.
it goes in a mold. And then the flower is another mold. And so you do the purple first and then you put on the UV light, just like when you get your nails done.
Yeah.
And then I did this, and then to make the ring, so then you do resin between the base and then this, because the flower is like a free thing.
Mhm.
And so then you do like a bunch of resin in between, and then you hit that with the UV light. And so that's how you make.
That's so, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
No, because you can actually, because then you can do whatever top you want to go on the bottom. So you could make anything. You could make anything. Hell yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, we started off with crafts. Okay.
Yeah.
But so
I'm not a drawer. No, I can color. I think sometimes I'll see a thing and be like, yeah, and it doesn't ever come out right.
But it's okay because I draw. And so what I'm thinking is I'll draw lines and then you color in shapes and then we flip and you color in my lines and then I'll draw lines around your shapes.
Okay.
And so it was a real collaborative little thing. But I like to do a little free form kind of, I have pencils and all the colors here, oil pastel, acrylics and all that. So like you can kind of get in there and do things. But so yeah, I'm just going to doodle some stuff and all that. But so were you always like a creative person?
Yeah. So like when I was a kid, my mother used to get me those they used to call them easy to do, and so I had different little easy to do sets, or it's just like it was like the fashion plates, or you can make your own scrunchies, or you could they had a thing called easy to do fashion machine, where basically it was just a purple easy bake oven.
Oh yeah.
And so you could make you get molds and you get clay, and then you could make your own jewelry. Like that. And then I had like a paper bead thing. And so they had these templates. And so you could use these templates, and how you cut the paper was how the bead would be made. And so it was a machine. So basically like this plastic, put you almost like in the mind like a loom maybe. And so there was a crank with a handle, and there was this metal piece, and you would slide the paper. And that's how you would make the bead. And you would put like glue stick on it.
Yeah.
And depending on how you cut the paper, was like you could get a cone shaped bead, you could get a round shaped bead, and then you'd crank this thing up. And then once it dried, you could make like different necklaces.
I think I know what you're talking about. Wait, so were you one of those kids that really like you'd see the commercial on TV and you're like, ooh, I want that little like crafty things, like the blendy pens, the glow pens.
But like I had like the bedazzler, I had one of those.
Yeah.
And then like she would always get me like a creative thing, and then like I used to make clothes for my dolls out of like socks. So like for like Barbie dolls and stuff. So my mom taught me how to sew because she used to have a clothing business that was named after me.
Aww.
And so I would so I was modeling the clothes because when we lived in Miami, she used to sell clothes and she used to sell hair. And so I would model the clothes, and then my hair would be done. So just at 9 years old, just looking like a young business professional.
You say you're like a little tinkerer.
Kinda, because like I have old craft room in my house. Like when a cricket came, like I bought a cricket.
Oh, you got the cricket?
Yeah, I got a cricket.
Crickets are good.
It was so crazy when I started coloring. I finally like put my cricket away because I needed more space for like the coloring books, and like so it's like I know how to knit, I know how to crochet. I think like a couple years ago, I got like a knitting machine, like one of those Centro knitting machines. And so I was literally watching like those Hallmark Channel murder mysteries.
We just knit.
And then just run this knitting machine because I have like a drill, and so there's a
What kind of drill? Like a
DeWalt. Yeah, like a screw gun. And so there is an adapter you can put on it. So then, because like it just goes in circles.
So you just while you would knit.
Yeah, those white women was like, I'm not gonna sit here to get the 300 rows, you goofy bitch. Yeah. I'm finna throw this adapter on here.
Yeah. I mean, technology is great for things like that because you can get a lot done. I mean, because especially too, because I used to cosplay. So like I go to anime conventions and I would build on my cosplays because my grandma, she was like a Renaissance little fair lady. So that would be a little dry. Damn. Rest in peace. Somebody got left out. But damn, leaving out my.
You hate to see that.
Yeah, I know.
Because I got a couple sets of acrylic ones for the coloring books, but so she did Renaissance fair.
She did Renaissance fair, but she was like real crafty, and so she like we'd always make stuff. And her first husband or second husband, Ian, he was like from Britain. And he would also like crafting things. So he would just come over with like porcupine needles and rattlesnake bones and be like, we gonna make jewelry. And so we would just like do shit like that. So we would do a lot of crafting. But I think that translated because when I started doing cosplay stuff, she was really into like anime and shit like that too. And so we would, she'd help me with my things. And then I would like build the props or build the little things. And then that just kind of translated. So like for my whole teenage years, I would be doing, I'd be making horns. And finding whatever I could around the house because I had no money. Right. So I would just find whatever I could. And then my mom would be like, please stop. Please leave the drapes alone.
Right.
leave these things.
I need my curtains.
Exactly.
Just show.
Exactly.
Well, like, we were always in fabric stores, Atlanta, selling jewelry. Like my college, they had like an event where like, because my school is very supportive of the alums. I went to Brunel University.
You went to Brown, you say?
I went to Brunel.
Brunel.
So it's a private women's college in North Georgia. So it's a very small school. Very small school.
Sorry to be like, you went to Brown? No, I went to Brunel.
People do that a lot. You went to Brown? No.
Brunel.
Yeah,
you gotta enunciate the Brunel.
Exactly. Yeah, it means gold refined by fire is what it means.
Oh,
so
this feels like a women's Hogwarts kind of school.
Let me tell you something. This up until like the 70s, you could get a degree in homemaking.
Really?
Yeah, this is very much like it was for a long time it was a finishing school. So they had like up until a couple years ago they had a private high school. But private high schools and like single gender education isn't as popular as it used to be. Because like there was it was like a military school. So like the girls at the academy were the cheerleaders for the military school. So I didn't know we still had military schools. I thought there was some TV shit. But apparently they still have them. But no, it's a very small college, which I'm very thankful for. I went to a small women's college, which I'm very thankful for. Because I didn't get caught up in like giant university shit where you're just trapped in, because you get more leadership opportunities if there's no men at your school.
Yes.
So, but in theater, I had to learn how to make styrofoam look like food. I had to learn how to make styrofoam look like rocks. I had to learn how to, I painted sets, I hung lights. I had to learn how to weld.
You had the so down.
I had to learn how to arc weld. I had to learn how to weld. So, hang lights and read a light plot. And I already knew how to sew because I would help my mom make the clothes when I was little. So when I tell people I've been working since I was 9 years old, they don't believe me.
Yeah.
Fucking tired, dog.
I don't blame you. Like, I just want to do my crafts in my craft room.
Listen, I've got a new swatch book for my colors.
Yeah.
Girl. Because like you buy these markers, but then they're numbered, but they're not numbered by hue.
Yeah.
And so you have all these markers and you're like, yeah, right. How's it? Okay, I got a barely beige and a pastel peach, but I need to see what the difference is between the two. So, you could so now I found so I went on Etsy and they were like selling swatch pages. And I found a girl who does swatch pages based by the hue of the colors. And then I bought this big swatch book, it's like 80 swatches per page. And there's like 52 pages. And so now I can go through and go, okay, I got all my colors by hue, but now since some of the colors repeat, then I have the space because I have enough swatches to be able to go, okay, these are all the pastel peaches, and then these are all my reds. And then now, since I have them by hue from the other ones, I can swatch all of my markers. It's really just to keep me off the streets is really what it is. I have a house. It's really just to keep me off the streets.
Yeah.
And acting right.
Do you think you were like a little neurodivergent growing up?
No, I feel like that because we went to schools mostly in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in gifted classes.
Yeah.
So, you have to get tested in the gifted classes.
The GT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
me too.
and so in Miami, they tested me like in the 5th grade. And so in Miami, so my mother tested and my brother tested, and my brother tested as well. Mm-hmm. So we had gifted classes and they test you for a bunch of shit. Mm-hmm. It's,
were you like the numbers girl or were you the puzzles girl? Because I was a puzzle girl.
I like a puzzle, but I also don't. I need things to make sense. I don't like doing stuff for the sake of doing it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like when they tested me for gifted and they handed me all these puzzles, at one point I was like, what is this for? Why am I doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the school paid, because like Dade County paid for that. Mm-hmm. My mom paid for my brother. Because I thought they just did it. My mother was like, no, I paid for that. So like I just need things to, so like I'm not usually an impatient person unless something doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just like, well, why are we like, what am I? Comics think this is very funny when I do this. I'm just legitimately looking for an answer. But like when someone's bombing, I'll just look over at my closest person next to me and just go, what's happening?
You did that at the last show.
Yeah. And I meant it because I legitimately wanted to know what's going on. Why am I experiencing this particular thing?
That's so funny because you said,
I love that.
Thank you. I was like, let me give her something I was also looking at the flower. So I was like the little flower. Can you pull up like, what's a technological, pull up like a camcorder, like a 90s camcorder? Thank you.
But,
do like an organic versus inorganic.
I think it's very, because when I was a kid, autism was a very specific thing. Mm-hmm. When I was coming up, everybody was calling people a psychopath. So we're saying psychopath, sociopath, whatever. And so then it was like everybody's like narcissistic. So we'd all catch a term.
Yeah.
And then now we're all, because like I was with some comics, I was down in Moon Tower and I was at one of the, was hanging out with some comics and they were saying like, I think this dude's autistic, da, 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 da. And they're like, and they're just going on and on and on. I'm just sitting there not saying shit. And like, Dulce said, what do you think? I said, I don't think any of y'all went to medical school.
Yeah, that part.
And they were like, and they started laughing. They were like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Nobody went to fucking medical school. I think y'all barely got out of fucking high school. So the fact that everyone's diagnosing people with things, that's problematic.
Yeah. You have to actually have the, going through the process. And it's not cheap. That's another thing too, is that I think people will want to self-diagnose because it costs a lot of money. But I had actually gotten the diagnosis pre-TikTok for the autism ADHD kind of little cocktail in between space, because my younger brother is like very autistic, like very, very autistic. And so like we share the same genes because we're the same parents. But I was first. And so I think there's a little bit of like, it kind of, when he came out, he kind of got most of it.
Well, they underdiagnose girls.
Yeah. So that's why my whole life I found myself masking